Hello, hi, and welcome to another Sambus training video. In this video, we'll be looking at batch processing. Let me begin with a scenario. So, you are a GIS analyst in let's say, a county or a district office or a special planning authority agency, and you have national data sets on, let's say, land use, and you are supposed to clip them individually to, let's say, 200 districts, right? Typically, you would manually, clip each land use to a particular boundary, which is cumbersome. I mean, if it is just, let's say, one or two districts, I mean, you could go the manual route, but if it is as plenty as the scenario given, going that manual route, it would be rather counterproductive and really tiresome. So this is where batch geoprocessing comes in. Really, in itself is a model. Should I say, is a model builder? It's, in a way, it's automating it, but then you would actually see the nuance or the difference between it and then your typical model. But then, I mean, in itself, like I mentioned, or it truly is. It is a tool, a customized tool of trying to automate a very repetitive and a very cumbersome process. So, what is batch processing, therefore, or batch geoprocessing? Simply, applying a geoprocessing tool to multiple inputs automatically. So, going back to our initial scenario, right? So, we have we have we have data on the national level, and let's say you want to clip it just to a particular district or to 200 districts, right? You would go the manual, you would go the batch geoprocessing route, right? It reduces manual repetition, like I mentioned, and it increases workflow efficiency. So, in itself, it's a way of automating. It's one of those things you think about when it comes to automation. Batch processing. You know, as it suggests, processing a large number of data sets at a go, right? Instead of manually going through that process of manually going through the process of analyzing just one particular data set. Why does it matter? Like I stated earlier, it saves time and effort, it reduces human error, especially, and it is ideal for large or repetitive data sets. So, what are the methods of geoprocessing? We have the model builder, like I mentioned, but in this case with iterators, right? And then we have the badge tool dialog itself, a GUI or a GUI, if you prefer that. And then we could go the hard scripting way or scheduling tasks with scripts, right? But for the purpose of this demo or this training video, we're going to look at the second one, which is the batch tool dialog. And it's like it's a GUI really. It's a user interface. You just click, press play, input your data sets, your boundary for the clip, and then you move. So let me go ahead and then switch over to my ArcGIS Pro 3.4. All right, so I've gone ahead to jumpstart my software. I've loaded in my data sets. So in this case, I'm using the settlements, Ghanaian settlements. This data set really are towns, major towns in Ghana. And then roads. So let me just uncheck this so that we can see the roads here. There it is. So we have the roads, and then I just have the boundary over here. Let me zoom to layer. You can see the boundary of the Greater Accra region, which sits the capital of Ghana. So let me just check this again. Now, so the task here at hand is I want to clip all the towns, all the roads, just within the Greater Accra boundary. I'm interested in the towns and roads within the Greater Accra boundary. I'm not interested with the roads and towns that fall outside, right? So my study area is the polygon, the Greater Accra region over here. So what I'm going to do is two ways. I've already docked my geoprocessing pane over here, so I'll just switch to this. But you can go to analysis, right, and then click on tools, and then this will pop up over here. So in this case, I'm going to use clip. So mind you, there are certain tools that would enable you or would afford you the luxury of using a batch process. Some wouldn't allow you. You might have to customize your own tool using a model builder. But off the top of my head, I think Buffer works with batch, clipping, most of the basic spatial analysis, most of the analysis tools use or gives you the batch option. So I'm going to, on my search box over here, I'm going to type in clip, right? And then I'm going to go for the first one, analysis over here. So I'm going to right click, and then you see open, edit, locate, and then batch, right? So you'll be greeted with this dialog box over here, and then you can choose a parameter. So what's interesting is that I can make, let's say, the input data set or feature, or let me come again. I can apply the badge tool to a specific parameter. So in this case, the input feature data set. So it will allow me to introduce more than one data set for the tool or the processing you want to do. In the same manner, I can also make the clip feature in this case, or apply the badge effect to this, so that I can clip multiple boundary, or I can have multiple boundary areas where the processing, or in this case the clip, will take place in, right? But in this case, since I have more than two data sets, I'm going to use the input feature or data sets. Supposing I had, let's say, another boundary, right, I'll opt for the clip feature instead. So let's click on the input feature or data set, right? And in this case, I can make it a temporary badge tool, or I can save it and then reuse it later on, right? Save it as a tool, right? So if I select the option, then I can rename the tool. Okay, so right, so then it becomes, badge clip for that matter, right? But then I'm going to save this to memory, leave the rest as default, and then go to next. So now, ideally with a clip, you are only afforded just one input parameter. In this case, I can add more than one. So let me select the Ghanaian settlement. See, another one has popped up. And then let me select roads. So these are the two major data sets I have on my map space. And so what is the boundary I'm going to use? The Greater Accra region. Right. So since we're working off the memory, and really, since I'll be saving to the data in my native file database, I'll just leave it as default. But then you can, obviously you can go ahead and change this if you want to, right? The XY tolerance, you know what? Let's leave it as default. But then if there's a specific requirement you need to set for your XY tolerance, please go ahead and set it. But for the purpose of this demo, I'll leave it as it is, nothing over there. So if I have fulfilled all the requirements for the tool to run, I can go ahead and hit run. Right. So the tool has been successful. So I can just go ahead and close this, and then let me go ahead and uncheck this, and then uncheck this. So now we have only data. Let me come again. So now we only have roads and settlements that fall within the Greater Accra boundary. So it's, simple as a cucumber. I hope that's the same, right? So this is how you run the Batch Geoprocessing tool. And if you go back, you can see that it's a tool. So like how you'd have as a model builder, it's a tool. So if I'd actually saved it, right, I could access it in my toolbox in my catalog pane. But then since I've saved it to memory, it's going to be temporal. So if I close this down, I cannot locate this thing again. It's temporal, or I cannot reuse it outside this project for that matter. So thank you very much for staying through this tutorial, and I hope to see you next time.